I sound like I don't know. I just sound like I just woke up or something. I think she would be live around now. Okay. Hey, everyone. Good morning. I think, yeah, still morning. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Happy MLK Day. This is a wonderful day, except for some other stuff that's happening, but we're not going to talk about that during the show. And this is around day 4. You might be wondering, why am I still live streaming? Because I have issues, personal issues, and I can't stop doing something once I've started. And we're still not at the 100% goal. We're at 81% right now for Tiffany Moore, helping her to get back on her feet after losing her home in the fires in Altadena, California. So far, we have $21,077 raised, 196 donations, and at 81%. I think we started around $13,000 or so, and 69 donations, and around like 50%. So, big changes. I can't take credit for all of it, but I think our live stream raised over $4,000 so far in the last 3 days. So this is really awesome, and all the other live streamers who've been involved in this have also helped raise considerable amounts of money. I think we're over $7,200 so far altogether. So this is really awesome. I'm just, again, I've told folks already, I'm deeply moved by this. It's insane that the design field has come together. I always thought we were kind of small and tight knit, but I had no idea it was like this. I know we've been like hit by layoffs, a lot of uncertainty around AI and stuff. So folks are all having a pretty tough time right now. But the fact that we're able to contribute and kind of scrunch together some money is really really moving and meaningful. Thank you so much, everyone. I'm gonna plug in the link in the bottom or in the post pretty soon. So if you like donate, please donate. And also, I'm here today with Bill Kurland. He is the design director at McDonald's, one of my favorite restaurants in some ways. I grew up just loving McDonald's, and then at some point I kind of stopped eating it as well because it just wow, I should stop here because I have a lot of really fond memories of McDonald's growing up, and I actually really liked it for a good amount of time. But Bill, I would love to like hear more about your background, how you got to McDonald's, and what you're working on nowadays.
Yeah. Thanks for having me. This is such a great thing that you've done for the community, for people who are in need at this particular time. So thanks for asking me to do this. Thanks for doing it in general. Before I get into it, I'll just say um, whatever we raise in this hour, I will match up to $500. So open your wallets, peoples. Let's make this the final push that gets some help to some people. But back to your question. How did I get into design? Great question. So I used to do a lot of music. I grew up wanting to be a David Bowie rock star, and pursued that dream for a really long time. Played like orchestra and punk rock and jazz and all this stuff for probably about 20 something years. And then at some point got tired of uh, having honey buns, gas station honey buns for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and not making any money and sleeping on floors. And I was like, maybe I should find something that pays better. So I kind of like fell ass backwards into content writing like 15 years ago, and that a big part of that was like web design and development. So building websites in like WordPress and Drupal, and designing websites with developers on hand and stuff like that. And that's kind of how I got started in this field, and then just kept like hopping around and having to do all of the different things in design, like coding stuff and writing stuff and designing stuff for web, for different platforms. And I kind of like found this niche in design enablement. So like things like UX writing, accessibility, design systems, stuff like that. And that's what I'm doing now at McDonald's, which is leading a group of, or our design foundations group, which is design systems, accessibility, and UX writing. And yeah, really supporting like all of the global experience design teams at McDonald's.
That's really cool. First of all, thank you so much for your generosity to match all the donations up to $500. That's really, really awesome. Folks, please donate so that we can take advantage of Bill as much as possible for this hour. And I also forgot to mention that the reason why I stopped eating McDonald's is because I became pescatarian and it was
Oh,
just really
really?
hard. Yeah, it's not because I didn't like McDonald's. I should have like rephrased everything. It was mostly because my diet changed and it became a little bit harder to eat there. But yeah, a lot of fun memories. And, based on what you've said, it's actually really, really interesting. You seem to be one of the folks who went from content design into design leadership. And I think a lot of folks have questions around that because usually you don't see a content designer move into that. It's usually more of a hands on designer who's like pushing pixels and eventually going to a managerial role. Like for you, was that a natural progression or did you have to really think about the strategy of how to get there?
Yeah, that's a great question. And someone I know who was in content design and went into design leadership referred to it as escaping Shawshank. When you get into a leadership position from content design.
What?
So, yeah.
You spent 10 years there, falsely imprisoned.
Right. Yeah. More just like the difficulty of uh, kind of like being seen as someone who has that broad range of expertise. I had done a lot of UX and design generalist work. So, like running generative research studies and like running usability tests in research, as well as doing content design and like wireframing in Acture and like all that stuff. So, maybe not as deep into visual design, although I did a lot of that with like I did some of that. Maybe that like in the strengths pyramid isn't as strong as like research and writing and kind of like the other ways that you perceive an experience other than visual design. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of always operated, I guess, as someone who is very horizontal. And that made moving into leadership a little bit easier for me. Just being seen as like someone who leads design in many different ways. And I had a lot of support from, senior directors, group directors, particularly current senior director at McDonald's, who also has a content design background. She'll be speaking at a conference called Lead with Tempo later in the year, talking specifically about this. So, yeah, I don't know. I guess just that expertise in design generalist made it easier to go into management, and having had like management experience before, just had the opportunities.
So I've noticed on the job market that there's definitely a shift toward more craft focused designers, more visual design. And have you felt that from a content design standpoint? There's more of a need for people who can execute, who can do the work at a high level and less so on managerial duties because it feels like a lot of these companies are flattening and there are far fewer managerial roles available, let alone director level roles.
Yeah, I got very lucky in the opportunity to kind of move into this position at this point in time, and know that and have seen and been a part of interviews, with a lot of people who are really strong people managers that, are looking to take the IC jobs that are available to them, which is unfortunate, right? Like, the idea of design leaders being like force multipliers, so like really being able to like connect dots and like enable the ICs to do their best work and do the best craft, and like kind of provide the air cover for those designers. I think those roles are really important, but yeah, have definitely seen like a lot of the flattening, a lot of the like we're just going to hire like very senior level ICs, and a lot of the opportunities that are not available to design leaders, but also to like people trying to get into UX design or design, even those who have a couple years of experience, where a couple years ago that was easier to find a gig, and now it's like if you don't have a decade plus or something, like you're SOL. But I don't know, what are some of the things that you've been seeing over the last like 3 years as we went through this big explosion of growth and trying to hire a lot of new talent to like way course correcting?
Yeah, it feels like during the hiring sprees of like 2020, 2021, there were plenty of managerial roles as well because they were trying to scale everything up. So as they were hiring tons of designers, they realized they also needed to hire managers as well. It was very much more a traditional structure of, you know, maybe like five, six designers, then you have a manager, and then those managers report up to a director. And in the last few years, not only are we seeing a lot more layoffs, but there has been a push by a lot of companies to flatten, and I think it's coming from CEOs as well because they're talking about like Meta definitely talked about it for a while. Same with other CEOs, were saying, we don't need this many managers that are really doing any real work per se, or any work that they could see directly. So I don't know why, but it almost feels like some kind of a virus in the sense that once one CEO starts doing something, the other ones follow shortly afterwards. And companies that, read it somehow think this is the right way to go about it. They just kind of copy each other for whatever reason. So there are far fewer managerial and directorship roles out there, unfortunately. And I'm seeing a lot more managers who are seriously considering going to IC routes. And it's hard because you're looking at somebody who hasn't really done strong hands-on work for the last 2 or 3 years minimum, and they're now competing against serious IC designers who have been doing hands-on work for the last 2 or 3 years. And it's just really hard to balance that. With that said, though, I think there are definitely opportunities for founding designer roles. Like if they can like brush up the craft, those founding designer roles have a building expectation that in 2 or 3 years' time, if the startup is successful, they'll start to build up the design team, and the design leader, the founding designer they hire, will become a design leader, somebody who now needs to build up a team underneath them, and then become a head of design, for example. So overall, I would just say it's a really tough time for managers right now. I've got some awful questions for you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
I got
love
some.
I love hanging awful questions. It's
Okay,
the best.
yeah, awful, inappropriate questions. So, there are a ton of memes around the soft serve machine at McDonald's. Do you have any insight into that? Like,
I don't, I don't. I forget. I think I got some early in my tenure, but I'm trying to remember what the deal is. And womp womp. Sorry, I can't. But as a follow up, I'll I'll take it back to the chat. I do know. I can say that the like I'm an occasional Coca-Cola drinker, and like the Coca-Cola at the office that we have like in the vending machine is better than um, Coca-Cola on the market, and even in cans, like how whatever the recipe is or the containers that it's kept in, like it is better.
yeah, I mean, so
Do I know why?
so you're saying the McDonald's Coca-Cola
McDonald's Coca-Cola is better, yeah,
is better than normal Coca-Cola?
than normal Coca-Cola.
Do you think it might be the temperature?
Could be temperature. I think it also has something to do with storage, but I can't recall like what exactly it's stored in that makes it taste better. But it does. Hang
Huh.
it, sweet nectar of the gods.
Okay, so you've hinted or intimated something about a Universal McDonald's in Chicago.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Can
So
you tell
there's
us about
a
that?
yeah, at McDonald's headquarters in Chicago, there's a global menu restaurant. So they basically like once a month rotate out global menu items. So you can get like I'm trying to think of the last thing that they did, but there's like a um, chicken nuggets that have that are like black pepper and garlic that are particularly good, and that's on the menu in, let's say, Belgium or whatever. And so like we get access to some of those menu items at the Chicago McDonald's.
So I have had the experience that McDonald's in Japan and China tastes better
Yeah.
than the McDonald's here.
Were
And
there particular menu items that were better, or just any of them?
just any of them. And
Wow.
I can't describe why. Maybe like the quality of the meat was better, or the veggies or the ingredients was just better for some reason.
Uh,
And I can't really describe why. I just felt like, I mean, same with KFC actually. It's like when KFC first came to China, that was the first time I had KFC. And I just remember it was amazing, amazing. Like I couldn't get enough of it. It was just so addictive. And then I came back to the US and then I had it after several months. It was so disappointing. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, it was like a difference in terms of the quality of the ingredients, perhaps, or maybe they just like maybe the recipe was a little bit different to suit the palate of the East Asian demographic versus the US demographic, but it was definitely better for some reason. So, was there, do you have like, is there like an Indian or like Mexican version of the stuff in McDonald's in the headquarter?
yeah, so like it's really interesting. One, I think it's like every 2 weeks or so, there's usually like a market or a country that comes and visits McDonald's headquarters in Chicago. So like um, franchisees or people from Japan or Belgium will come and like give a presentation to the corporate employees about like what's trending in Japan or Belgium, or how like the different taste profiles result in different menu items, or like what is driving business or trends or whatever. So you like, I have learned just a lot about different food cultures, even through like some of these like hour-long meetings that we do like twice a month. It's fascinating. Like Belgium, I learned has like maybe it's somewhere around 100 Michelin starred restaurants, and like have about the same number of McDonald's. So like the gap between like highbrow lowbrow is like not as vast as perhaps it is in America, for example. So like all of these like different cultural considerations on like what goes into a menu, and like how people respond to like the digital experiences in different ways, and like order foods and different expectations is like mind blowing.
That's that's fascinating that they allow the UX team to sit in those meetings. It's a basically all hands or
Yeah,
uh,
totally. It's like a optional like come and check out this market overview like twice a week. To anybody who's in the corporate building can like pop down and like learn about a different country and how McDonald's operates there. There was just a book that got published called McAtlas, which is like this uh, photographer who decided to like take a trip to McDonald's like across the world, and like um, write a book about different McDonald's, and it's like very like art book. It's very interesting. The highbrow, lowbrow coming together.
Have you eaten more McDonald's or less since you joined?
That's a great question.
It's not. This is dumb. This is such a dumb question. So dumb.
Have I? Yes. Well, I think I've had more chicken nuggets than I've had in a long time. I'm living the nug life, and I'm loving it.
I've had I had one of the worst arguments with my best friend I've known since high school. Like
Uh-huh.
we really don't get into arguments. Maybe we get into one argument like once every 3 to 5 years.
Uh-huh.
And the most recent bad argument where we just like didn't talk to each other for several hours was over chicken McNuggets. Yeah. And
Fascinating.
it was so dumb. It started with him claiming chicken McNuggets is like the best chicken nuggets out there. And I was like, they're definitely better fried chicken joints. And he's like, no, those aren't chicken nuggets. Those are just fried chicken. I'm like, what's the difference? Like, there's definitely better fried chicken available in New York City than chicken nuggets. Like, they'll like get you a real, you know, deep fryer with like, I should stop, but you get what I mean though. Like,
Yeah.
and the whole argument just was it devolved into what is a chicken nugget, kind of like what is a sandwich versus not a sandwich, and why it was better or superior to the other chicken nuggets out there or the not chicken nuggets. But
Yeah.
anyway, that's these are
I
the
love
terrible
this.
fights.
I love this philosophical exploration, like ship of Theseus. What makes a nug a nug?
Oh God, this is Trevor, but you can't see his name unless you look on LinkedIn. Why does this not surprise me? It's like the dumbest stuff that we argue over. Oh,
Was it
and
Trevor? Were you arguing with Trevor about this?
imagine Trevor and I actually came like from way back, like high school. That'd be
Oh
really
yeah.
odd. That would
When
mean
did
I grew up in Utah or something.
when did your feud with Trevor begin? How did that manifest?
I don't remember. It's one of those things that nobody remembers anymore. It's like a blood feud that goes back eons or generations. Like you know how like some cities have like one city has a blood feud with this other city or this one family with this other family. Kind of like
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet. Oh my, I should not say Romeo and Juliet, but like nobody really knows like how it all started. How over like some cattle from like generations ago, and they just don't remember anymore. They just know we hate this other family. But that's kind of Trevor and me. Yeah, I think yeah, I don't remember. I don't remember at all. But we'll figure it out. Trevor's coming on in 34 minutes, and then we'll get to the bottom of it. Like who started it?
Yeah.
And it
I'm
was
going.
totally Trevor. It's definitely Trevor who started it.
How did how did this like fundraising thing come to life? Like what happened? Was it like a family that you knew who was affected that kind of like spurred this live stream idea for you?
I had three friends who talked about Altadena at the same time.
Hmm.
And the whole point was that there's been so much publicity or focused on the Palisades or like the richer area, and there's like this really erroneous perception in media that the people who've lost their homes are the rich celebrities who have like five homes, and if they lose one, whoop de doo, and it's like this kind of non-empathy or callousness that was like kind of crappy. But like you have to remember LA is huge first of all, and there are people from all walks of life, and Altadena is a predominantly black neighborhood that didn't get very much attention at all in the beginning, who've generations of black families have lived there. My friend Michelle was telling me that that was one of the first places where black people could own homes. So you're talking about generational wealth is being wiped out completely by this horrible fire. And when multiple people talked about it, I was like, huh, this is actually really interesting and it's also really devastating. And ideally, we should be able to do something about this. And yeah, like there's a content creator Slack channel as well. I don't know if you're aware of it. That Tommy and Frank Bach started, and I was there for a while, and then I left and started doing other stuff. But uh, they're really awesome. Like I came back in, I was like, hey, folks, do you want to do something like this? And then people signed up and started just we just started winging it. So yeah, a lot of this came from Lex Roman. They're an amazing organizer of all things, and they taught me everything about like how do you start something like this, how do you get people to sign up, how do you get donations in. So this is the first time I've done it, and I made a ton of mistakes that Lex warned me about, and they were like, "Yeah, don't do this. You're gonna screw up." And I'm warning you, please don't do this. I'm like, no, I'm gonna do this anyway because I have so much hubris and just ignorance. And part of it went okay. Other parts, I'm just like, why did I do it this way? Why did I not listen? Like, this is not an efficient way of going about things, but here we are. Yeah, so Tiffany Moore is childhood friends with my one of my co-organizers for this like in-person senior designer event stuff that's happening in New York. And they mentioned that, while they haven't really talked very much, they when they found out that somebody they knew from childhood like lost their homes, it's awful and devastating. So when we started, we are like, okay, each of us like find a family that we want to help, and then try to see how much money we could raise through our live stream. So it's been a lot of fun. I've totally lost my voice, and yeah, I'm actually really shocked that we've gotten this far. So yeah, thanks for asking
Yeah,
about how
this
this all
is great.
started.
Yeah. Um, what is one thing you would caution anyone attempting to do this against? Like, was there a mistake where you'd be like, no, really, Lex was right about this. Don't do this.
Yeah, you know how this actually goes ties back into design because I feel like there's a lot of talk right now around the types of designers that are out there. And there's this, I want to say, a marketing push for designers who ship, designers who build stuff. And you'll see a lot of other design content creators talk about this. And I believe it. I'm like, okay, yeah, if you ship stuff, you can build the stuff that actually works, the prototypes, that's going to be extremely compelling to people. And I kind of took that approach with this where I'm just like, okay, I'm going to like just hit up a bunch of people, chat with them, and just start doing this, right? And I did very little organizational work behind it. I just kind of went and started doing stuff, which is good to like kick things off. But the amount of time I've wasted or just kind of get stuck was pretty terrible. And also, I could have like prepared more for each of these live streams and like round up more viewers or like get more invitations, etc. And you can only do that if you take a very systematic approach to things and say, okay, I'm going to schedule 2 live streams today, 3 next day, and I'm going to send out invitations like this much time ahead. And then I'm going to have some kind of templates in place for the invitations and how I want to describe things. Because I did everything bit by bit, it was so costly in terms of time and energy that it was much worse than it should have been. And I probably should have delegated some of this better with other folks who could have helped me with like putting together the text or the images and just focus on live streams. And I didn't do that. I tried to do too much in some ways. And I got some great help from like John Moore, who like did all the graphics for this, which my original graphics look terrible because I haven't done design in like 3 years. But I would say organization is super important. Like kind of plan out the scope of it, and then figure out what the schedule should be, and then create a system behind it to push that all out. Instead, I just try to rush everything, ship it out the door, and it worked fine for like the first half day, and then things just started falling apart. So yeah, I think that's kind of thing with design. Like we kind of like crap on design processes these days, talking about like maybe, we're too process oriented, we're too focused on like how things should happen, and there's a real reason for it. And I realized that when we talk about shipping stuff and going against processes, all we're saying is there is the process in place. It's just that we're choosing to ignore it. And we're going through this process that doesn't actually work that well. And that is our process. We just choose to not give it a name, for example. And that's kind of what I did. So that's a bad idea. Like now I could probably put together a playbook of how I want to do the next one and save like 40% of my time easily. And that's what I need to do after this, because while everything's still fresh in my mind.
Yeah, and I feel like that brings us back to the place that we started, where it's like, what value do design leaders bring to organizations that are like really focused on just ship the work right now, right? Like, it's all of that. It's all of the like organization of the people and the work, so that it's not duplicate effort or like just get things done because outputs or whatever, right? Like, having someone who can focus their attention on like, we want to raise money, what's the best way to raise money, and then rally the people around like the raising of the money and the execution of like, and delegation of like, how do we achieve that outcome. So way to go, Hang. Way to pull us right back to the original thread. I can't believe you did that so well.
Thanks. I do want to like do a quick update on the fundraising. We got a donation anonymously, about $20. Thank you so much, whoever did this. Please, reach out to me afterwards. I can thank you personally. A lot of anonymous donations coming in, which I appreciate. I get it. At the same time, I would love to just thank you, figure out who you are, so that so I feel like I owe you one going forward. So Bill, I actually want to like ask, like, we're on the subject of craft and like building and shipping and kind of like us moving away from processes. It feels like all the tech companies are leaning hard into shipping and like getting designers to execute, to like make things look really beautiful or like pixel perfect. Do you feel like this McDonald's is different in any ways, or is it like, are they moving into that as well? Because to me, like, McDonald's is not a tech company at all. Like, it's not a, I wouldn't say it's not like a tech first company like some of the other tech companies out there, but there's no question that when you look at their digital interfaces, their flows, and just how you interface with a company through their online shopping options, it's pretty great compared to even the most tech forward companies out there. So, like, how does that happen, and is it different?
Yeah, there's a lot of like transformation happening at McDonald's right now, especially within like the experience design organization. So it's like really exciting to be. I always enjoy those that context more than I necessarily enjoy like, um we're gonna like have deep long conversations about, or we're going to do experimentation to see like what button copy is necessarily going to be like most impactful. It's like, not that that's not important or that that's trivial or anything like that, but like the big organizational shifts are really interesting to me, because it's kind of an opportunity to like take the things that you've learned and like do something that might be different, and not necessarily like the prescribed dogmatic way of doing things. So anyway, back to your original question, like what's happening at McDonald's right now. So like big emphasis on bringing more of design in-house at a global level. So a lot of hiring that we've done over the last year, like a lot of growth, and then yeah, just a lot of opportunity to like build the foundations for scale and continue to improve those experiences. So like I'm really excited for what the organization is trying to do and what we as a experience design organization are trying to do. And like all the cool things that I think people will start seeing over the next 18 months or whatever as we really like ramp up this design organization. Yeah, and it's like I think it will be increasingly upon us. Like, feel good is a big part of the McDonald's brand, right? Like, feel good experiences and stuff like that. So, one, like, just really focusing on things like the UX and understanding our customers, and like, that's massive, right? It's like billions of people who are interacting with these interfaces like on a monthly basis. So like trying to figure that out, the cultural nuances, the big emphasis that we're putting in the future on like improving and being better at like inclusive experiences. So like culturally inclusive, like ability inclusive, things like that are really exciting. So without saying things I probably shouldn't disclose, I'm excited for all of the work that we're going to be doing in the years to come as we build this function even more. So yeah, I don't know, like really cool time to be here and be like building these muscles for like a company of this size that isn't like a tech company, right? And for all of the things that are currently happening at some of those companies.
What do you think enables McDonald's to be so effective in their overall user experience and their technology, despite not being a tech company at all?
Like I think the systems thinking that's kind of like built into McDonald's, like it is a brand that was like, how do we get like quality food to people faster, right? And so it's like, well, you've got to have like modular systems there. So like even in the menu items, like there are like core menu items that like go out to different markets, but like there's some flexibility there to like innovate, vary, etc., etc. So like I think that systems mindset and like that desire to innovate is like really at the core of design thinking in general, and like it's a brand that's been doing that since the 50s essentially before like the popularization of kind of like some of these more like design
Yeah.
methodologies.
I'm kind of curious, and you don't have to share this, but
Yes.
is the is there like a core user experience or design team with localization support for each region or country, or is it more like each region has their own design team?
Yeah, that is a legitimately good question, not me just pretending, I promise. Yeah, so like global, we are building the global experience design team. So like really like thinking about like what is the core experience for everyone across these different markets, with the ability for those markets to then do the same thing they're doing with like the menu and the restaurants, which is like start here and then
Yeah.
like create variants as you so desire.
So it's more like a localization team for each of the regions that would be taking the core experience and then adapting it to their needs, their cultural needs, and their language, etc.
Totally.
Huh. Interesting. And you mentioned that, they're trying to bring more folks in-house as opposed to relying on external agencies to support the design needs. What other challenges do you feel like the design leaders at McDonald's are facing that's like maybe similar or different than the typical challenges that design leaders face in the current market right now?
Hmm. I mean, there's always going to be that um, proving of value thing, right? Where it's like, to your point, in an environment in which other organizations are saying like we need more individual contributors than we necessarily need like organizers and directors. Just continuing to like talk about why that is so valuable, like to the point of in an organization where there could be so much variability, right? Like if you set people out to like go and ship a thing, like that could look wildly different in many different markets with like a degradation on like core experience, right? So like having the design leaders who can see more like at the higher altitude, like what's happening and where to make connections and where duplicate work is happening and doesn't need to be happening to like reduce debt and be that technical debt or design debt, like making those connections and seeing those pieces that like really get everybody rowing the boat in the same direction instead of like, everybody like I guess that's a good analogy of if you have a bunch of people who are just like rowing but not necessarily like in the same direction, like are you actually going anywhere, or are you just um pretending to be moving?
Got it. That's Yeah, I feel like we're all kind of facing that issue right now across the design industry. So yeah. Also want to do another update on donations. We got another $10 anonymous donation come in. Folks, if you
Woo!
haven't donated yet, please use the QR code on the bottom right or the link in the comments. We appreciate any donation at all at this point. So if you can donate more, appreciate that, of course. Any less, that's totally cool too. Every dollar counts. We're at 81% still and around $21,097 raised so far. So we're less than $5,000 away from the ultimate 100% goal. That gets the GoFundMe fully funded. So, folks, if you're able to donate, please hit the QR code or the links in the comment. Thank you so much. Bill, I want to ask, like, with the with so many companies out there, like really focused on leveraging AI in every way possible, some of them just kind of like bolting it right on. I haven't really seen a whole lot of that at McDonald's yet. Are you able to talk about the philosophy there and also just like, are there plans in the works? Like, are there opportunities that folks are exploring when it comes to ordering food and AI?
Yeah, there's definitely stuff that we're exploring, though I can't necessarily say what that stuff is. But yeah, I mean, like any other organization, like how does that fit into our broader strategy? And like how does that fit into design is definitely like a big part of discussions that like are ongoing. Um, it's I don't know. Yes. I was about to go on a tangent, but I won't.
Yes.
I have some personal feelings about AI that I'm still grappling with as a general concept of like, well, what are we doing here and why? Like just in general, as humans, like um so yeah, I don't know. What are some of your thoughts on where we're going with artificial intelligence?
I have no idea. I feel like we're just seeing a bunch of companies slap it onto their features and nobody's really engaging with it. Like, well, LinkedIn's attempts at leveraging AI has been hilarious, where every time I open up an email, so by the way, email is extremely expensive. Like, there's no way to really calculate the cost per email, but if you look at it in terms of how much money you would spend on a LinkedIn premium account and how many emails you get from it, it's probably like $5 per message, if not more. And the default function is they'll like write out an email or like an email for you. And it's always terrible. And at one point, every time you message somebody who you haven't spoken to for a short amount of time, it defaults a message using AI. And I always found that to be ridiculously bad. So if I haven't talked to somebody in 3 days, the first message would be like, "Hey Bill, I know we have like how have you been doing? Like I would like to catch up with you, etc., using AI." So it's all really bad. And I feel like we're also seeing a lot of it used in support. So when people have like a complaint about like what's not working through their order or something, then I guess that's being leveraged. I imagine that's what's happening with Uber Eats and all these other tools. So my guess is McDonald's would leverage that at some point, but just a
Who's
guess.
to say?
Who is to say, right?
What
Yeah.
what like have you seen any examples of like mutually beneficial artificial intelligence being implemented? Like you could see it, like there's a business benefit, but there's also like an actual like user benefit to any of it.
I think any time where you have to use complex workflows, that's been pretty decent. For tools that are ubiquitously used, like Excel. So every time I have to create a table, I don't have to, write it out. Like if I'm dealing with a ton of data, I feel like AI is pretty great with that. So you don't have to write out SQL or Python, whatever else. But honestly, if you knew how to write those coding languages, it's probably a lot faster than using queries over and over again to try to get it right. But that's been a pretty good time saver. Although I don't know if it's like a huge advantage at this point. It's like you can save some time here and there. And then, honestly, I feel like we just waste more time trying to like tweak it to get it to be 100% right. So, yeah. I do want to ask you some questions. Oh, sorry. Go on.
Go
Yeah.
for it.
I do want to ask you a few questions around content design because it feels like there are a lot of content designers out there who would like to move into a leadership position. And oftentimes there isn't this clear path for them. So, do you have any advice around how content designers who would like to be more of an experienced design leader in the organization, what they can do to move into that position when they're competing against other designers who are more perhaps hands-on, who are more focused on the user interface? And oftentimes the executive leaders out there, non-designers, would see them as like better designers than say the content designers or user researchers for whatever reason.
Yeah, I think showing uh, the value of the way that you think, which is not necessarily like, I don't know, abstracting like content design from like just the micro copy in the UI, right? Like that it is also the structure of information in the user interface, that it is experience design in like how do you connect to people in this moment, and like really broadening your skill set as well. So like maybe you're not the greatest visual designer, but you know how to speak to visual design decisions. Like you can get in Figma and like do the work. You can like have executive level conversations and tell a story that is compelling to whatever audience that might be, whether that's like users or other leaders across product, across engineering. Like, I don't know, there are a lot of people who are doing the work of design leadership. They just have to frame the story of like broad expertise in design, of managing stakeholders and like telling a compelling story, presenting up to executives, having like a vision of where you want to take an experience based on insights, like strategy, all of those pieces. That at least worked for me. Of and also finding like people who are amenable to that story, right? Like there are going to be, at least in my experience, people who just like are fixed in their mindset that if you haven't pushed pixels in Figma, you are not a designer. And like, um, and like, you're not going to get anywhere trying to change those hearts and minds, in my opinion. So like, go to the people who have, maybe made that transition themselves, or have a broader understanding of like what it actually takes to be a leader, which is not necessarily that, right? Like it's storytelling, it's influence, it's partnership, it's delegating, it's getting work done, and not necessarily being like the person who is like doing all of the work all of the time.
So I want to follow up that
Yeah.
question with, do you feel like there are unique advantages to content designers that allows them to be more effective people leaders or design leaders at organizations that other non-content designers like visual designers or product designers aren't as able to take advantage of?
I think in the storytelling, like especially when you're a leader and most of what you're doing is like trying to communicate as clearly as possible to people who don't necessarily have a design background, right? Like your first team as a design leader is more often like product directors or VPs of technology, that you're trying to say, we're trying to do this work that's going to have this impact for the business and for our customers. And so being able to really clearly craft a compelling story can sometimes be closer to like a content designer's experience than necessarily like some visual designers, which is not to say that it's not in the experience of a visual designer, just like somebody who has to like write that story and be super
Right.
concise, like can sometimes be a little stronger there.
Right. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. But you're right. It's not always the either or
Yeah.
situation. There are definitely visual designers who buck the trend. Kind of curious also at McDonald's. So I assume the experience design team owns the digital experience primarily, but do they also have impact on the in-store experience as well?
Yeah, so there are multiple digital channels, right? So and some of those channels for the customer are like the mobile app, but also like drive through and
Yeah.
like menu boards and kiosk. And then like for the crew, it's point of sale. So like taking the order, making the order in the back of house. Like there's a lot of those pieces that are like the physical digital collaboration of like how do you design the experience where like there's handoff and collaboration between the two. So yeah, yeah. Right now, it's very like there's a lot of collaboration between like the physical and the digital, and I imagine that's going to continue in the future for sure.
Do you also work with interior architects just to like
There, there are like tons of like restaurant design and in like interior design and architects and stuff like that. I haven't been there or at McDonald's long enough to say like I've collaborated with everybody, but like those people are in the offices and in the conversations, and like there's a lot of um, collaboration between the different disciplines for sure.
Thank you for sharing that. I
Yeah,
also heard that Walmart has like a physical space where they prototype everything for, I guess, experiments, prototyping, and just like see what's working, what's not, for both like the digital design team and the physical design teams. Is there anything like that at McDonald's where you have something where you could just like go in and try it out and experiment and do it in person, not just like on your phone or on a computer screen?
totally. And calling back to my other previous employer, that yeah, so similar to Walmart where I had been for a couple years before McDonald's, like um, yes, we have what's called speedy labs at McDonald's, where there's like a lot of um, different innovation that happens like in these spaces. So like physical space, device labs, like all that kind of stuff. So like there's a lot of omni-channel, physical, digital, like experimentation that happens like at McDonald's headquarters.
I have one last crappy question before I let you go. What's the most amazing benefit of working at McDonald's that other people aren't privy of?
The people on the design team are like chef's kiss. Like the team that is coming together at McDonald's. I'm excited for more people to get to know, and to know the name of, and to see the work of. So that is the secret ingredient.
Nice. I was hoping that we just get like free chicken nuggets for life.
Yeah. Well, you know a guy, Hang. So let's talk off air.
All right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you so much, Bill, for coming on today. We raised, let's see, we had 5 donations come in, and we're at 199 donations already. So
Wow.
let's see. Yeah, this is awesome. We got together about $50, which is pretty awesome altogether, and now we're almost at 2,100 and yeah, we're at $21,127 total. So 81%. Just want to thank you everyone who's donated, and if you haven't donated in yet, please donate now so that Bill can match it, and we'll try to get as close to the $2,600 goal as possible. So Bill, thank you so much for coming on today. You're also welcome to stay because Trevor is about to come on stage. He's already in the backstage right now. Trevor, are you ready to be humiliated and made fun of for a whole hour? Give me a thumbs up if you are. He's refusing to do it, so I'm gonna put him on stage anyway.
Do it.
Hey
Hi,
Trevor.
is my mic working?
No.
Oh, not muted.
It was.
It was working fine.
It
I'm just
was. It
screwing
was
with you.
working. Yeah.
It was
It's
working.
it's all the little bullying tactics that I
Oh
have
my!
to
I
make
should have
Trevor.
known.
Yeah.
I'm about to leave this one.
You'll be the shortest attending guest.
Yeah, this will
It'll
be
be a new
your
record.
the record for everything. The lowest amount of fundraising, the lowest amount of everything.
I have
So
high hopes for you, Trevor.
we're gonna break some records in all the worst ways.
Yeah. Yeah. How are you doing, Trevor?
Good. I caught some bits and pieces of yours and Bill's, so that was cool hearing a little bit about McDonald's. So I didn't catch the whole thing, but McDonald's sounds like I mean, we all know about McDonald's, but very few of us know about McDonald's design team. So that's pretty cool to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, I had no idea.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm going to leave you to do your battle and watch from the audience. So bye-bye.
Bye, Bill.
Yeah,
Thanks
Bill.
so much for everything. I really enjoyed our conversation.
Same. I'm looking forward to the battle that's about to happen. So I wish you both luck.
Thank you. I have a
Bye.
list of insults for Trevor that I'm just gonna read through for the next hour.
Yeah. I didn't even prepare anything. I just came with thick skin, ready to face whatever lies before me.
You're like an elephant or a rhinoceros.
Well, you kind of have to be
Yeah,
if you
to be
put up
friends
with what
me,
I put up
guess.
with. Yeah. Yeah. There's way too much smiling going on already. This doesn't feel right. This is
Oh yeah, I'm really looking forward to this. I've been waiting years for this. So
well.
yeah, I appreciate you coming on for a good cause.
Yeah, I know we've tried this before, but it just for whatever reason just never worked out. Maybe we just pride got in the way,
I think so.
and it just yeah, I think it was like before your LinkedIn vacation or hiatus, whatever you want to call it. We had tried. I think we even had it. We almost had it on the calendar, but then yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
It's
know
too
what got in the
bad.
way.
I
Got in
just
the way.
couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
I wasn't ready
but
for it.
better late than never, you know.
Yeah. But you've been on other podcasts since then. And I made a policy where once you go on a podcast, I cannot go on the podcast anymore. So I made every podcast host choose between one of us.
Well, that's better for them if you're not going to join their podcast. So I'm sure that they're okay with that.
Yeah, maybe.
This is only I know you wanted to be my first LinkedIn live, but Chris,
Why do you have to say it like that? It sounds so gross.
it is gross. Chris beat you to it though.
Chris win?
Yeah.
I see
Yep.
how it is.
That was fun. It was last October, I think. I can't remember exactly when, but yeah. So he was really fun to do a live with though. So you have a lot of big shoes to fill there. So
Really?
I did one by myself though. That was scary for Maven. I did the lightning session.
Oh, you have a course now?
No, but they did this thing called lightning sessions where you can do like a 30-minute one-off live stream on a specific topic, and then it helps people understand if that topic would be worth building a course around. So it's just like a way of testing kind of like rapid fire lives for certain ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was very stressful, never doing that before, and then doing it live. And yeah, but not as stressful as this. This is
Really?
no, I'm fine. I mean,
but
just
the Maven.
Sorry.
Just go ahead.
I don't even know how many people are watching, but regardless, if it's like 5 people, it's still always scary.
Oh, we got 7 people so far.
Oh, 7? All right.
Yeah. MLK Day, not a great day for viewership. That's what I'm learning.
I think that was probably intentional. I think we probably want to keep people from seeing the torment you're going to put me through, but
oh, that's why you scheduled it on MLK Day on like a day off. That's clever. I can't believe I fell for it.
Yeah, you fell right for that one.
So wily.
But I do want to say I am pretty impressed that you've done 17 hours of this. That is, I mean, in a week. Not only 17 hours in a week. That's got to be some sort of LinkedIn record. Like this isn't YouTube, where people stream all day long, and like I show Speed or Speed. You know, he just is always online, always streaming. But LinkedIn doesn't really. Nobody does that on LinkedIn. So I feel like you probably broke a record that, anyway, it's super impressive, and I'm sure it was a lot of work and you're probably exhausted. So kudos to you for doing it for a good cause, even though it's probably been a challenge and both mentally, physically, emotionally. So anyway,
Oh,
kudos to you.
thank you. You know, the first day I did this, at the end of the day, I felt a really weird pain. I couldn't really describe it. It was like middle way between physical and mental anguish.
Wow.
And I don't know how to describe it at all. It felt awful and painful, but it wasn't the normal kind of pain. I just wasn't used to it. But now I am. Like this is no longer my normal voice. This is just like my like 18 hours in voice at this point. So
Wow.
thank you for coming on. Folks, if you haven't donated yet, please hit the QR code on the bottom right or the link in the comments. We would greatly appreciate any donation. We have a suggested rate of $25. But you know, if you're able to donate more, we love you more. And if you were to donate less, we would love you a little bit. No, I'm kidding. We would greatly appreciate it as well. If any dollars you can spend, it's just incredibly meaningful. We're so close to helping Tiffany reach her 100% fundraising goal, which to me isn't really that much for some folks who have lost their home, their house, all their belongings in it. So every dollar counts, and we've raised about I would say like a little over 4,000 so far on this live stream, and we've watched it go from around 50% to 81% full now. So we're at the last mile at this point. So if you're able to donate, please do so. We would greatly appreciate it. Man, Trevor, we how long have we
Yeah.
been arguing over shit? Because Bill asked like, when did this start? How did it start? And I was like, I don't actually remember. It's like one of those like blood
Um,
feuds between two families that go back generations, and they just know they hate each other. They don't even know why
oh,
anymore.
yeah. And I know I think you mentioned that I started it, but I guess that'll just be another feud is fighting over who started it, but I'm pretty sure it was you. So there's that. But it's been a battle that you know, I think there's worse things in life. Um, I know you
That's a ring endorsement.
no you I know you take credit for some of the good things that have happened to my career.
Like the layoff.
Yeah, you're probably the reason I got laid off.
Yeah. I write to your CEO every day. I'm like, Trevor is not doing his work. He's just writing on LinkedIn. So you should do something about that.
Yeah, you brought too much attention to that. Exposure, they say all exposure is good exposure, but there's probably some limit to that. I don't know.
No, not with us, unfortunately.
No,
Uh,
I do miss the workday mock-ups. It's been a while since you did one of those, but
yeah.
and
You
I saw
haven't
that you ranked Workday pretty high on your chart when you did the call with was it Ryan?
with Peter, I
Or no,
think.
Peter, that's what it
Yeah.
was. Yeah, you did the call with Peter, and I was surprised that you didn't put Workday lower on the chart.
Yeah. Peter really likes Workday. That's what I
Oh, so
realized.
that was he pulled it up a little bit.
Yeah, I think because he knows a lot of design leaders who work there.
Okay.
And so he has a lot of respect for the work they've done, the careers they've had. And I would just say that despite everything, I don't know if the company has allowed them to really showcase the good works.
Yeah, that makes sense. Companies that big, usually most of their best design work is still like locked away in their design files.
Yeah, or they just get prevented from doing the kind of work that they should be doing. So it's unfortunate, but
It is
I would
unfortunate.
say most HR software is like that. It's nothing new.
Yeah, I think LinkedIn, I'm sure the designers at LinkedIn probably have all sorts of amazing ideas tucked away as well. I just know LinkedIn's
Yeah.
another one that people complain about a lot, and it's usually the design, the UX things that get complained about. But there's probably not a lot the design team can do. I'm sure there's 10 layers of red tape that they would have to get through to push those ideas out. So anyway,
Yeah, I haven't seen any good features from LinkedIn in a long time. I think the last good one that we were like, oh, this is pretty useful is the links that appear in your uh, direct messages and also at the top of your profile, like that you can click on anything you want. I mean, you could like direct it to anything you want.
good point. That is actually a really cool feature. I haven't upgraded to that level yet because I just haven't had a something I want people to click on. But anyway, it's another topic. But I do think that's a great feature because I don't even think that other social platforms have that. You have to go to their profile in order to find their links. LinkedIn's probably, despite all of LinkedIn's flaws, that's probably the one thing they have as leverage over other platforms, which is why it's just surprising because sometimes they make such smart business moves like that where it really helps people that are trying to sell something, promote something, but then they sabotage the people trying to sell and promote things in completely different ways. Like it's so funny how they are so flip-flop like that. But yeah, they've had some doozy features as well. Like I feel like sometimes they go in the wrong direction. Like that one is like a step in the right direction. Like help the people that are trying to use the platform for business. That's why they're here. That's why they're not on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. LinkedIn's like a professional networking platform. So why not serve the professionals that are trying to do their business? But then sometimes it's like they totally forget that and go the other direction. So I don't know why.
I
It's a
I don't know
mystery.
why either. I feel like I want to mention one thing though. They get away with not paying content creators anything, which is like the only platform that does that. Because if
Exactly. That's a huge one. Like
yeah,
every other platform, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, they'll pay the content creators. They know they're
TikTok,
valuable. TikTok,
yeah,
they know who is supporting and keeping their platform afloat and helping it grow. And they're like, we're going to pay you for this.
yeah,
Yeah. Why does LinkedIn not do that?
because they could get away with it. Like, are
Yeah.
you gonna quit LinkedIn because they're not paying you to write posts? No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's probably one of their biggest weird blemishes is just their whole monetization strategy. It's just like to message someone. Like that's how they make money is you have to pay for credits to message people. Like I don't think any other platform does that. You just can message someone. It's up to them if they see it or respond to it. They can block you. But you
Yeah.
can message anyone. And it's like, oh, that's one way they try to make money is something that's free on every other platform. So
Yeah.
and
Emails are
then
expensive.
what was it? An email credit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're
Yep.
expensive.
Also, another thing that I don't love is their push for video, and I know I've seen a lot of people complain about this. And I mean, some people do video and like doing video, but it's just a bit much. Like the way they took over the bottom nav with the video, and then they put a red dot notification showing you that you have a new video to watch, and I can't figure out how to turn that off. And it's like they're just trying so hard to get people to use the videos feature.
Yeah.
And then yet those videos there we've seen people they'll post that they get like 100,000 views and like 15 reactions to that video. So it's just weird. The whole video thing is weird. Like they're just pushing the videos out, but it's like videos that people don't want to watch. So
Yeah.
it's a bit strange.
Yeah. Lena was telling me how she got 2 million views on one of her videos. 2 million. And it had about 30 or 40
Oh
reactions.
my gosh.
So she's like, what the hell? Like, how did that even happen? That's like a crazy, terrible ratio. And my theory is that her video like showed up as the front page video for, how you get notified and
Yeah.
then
Yep.
you click that accidentally or you tap it accidentally and as soon as you realize, oh, I'm watching video, you like nope out of it. Like I've given so many views to videos that I just didn't even finish. I just like tapped it accidentally. I'm like, oh wait, wrong button. Let me go back to my main feed.
Exactly. It's so annoying. Plus, I just discovered that you can turn the audio from you can change it so the video doesn't play automatically. There's just been so many times when
Wow.
it pops open and the videos are so loud, and I just don't expect that from LinkedIn. Like if you open TikTok, you expect, okay, I'm in a video app. Like that's what I'm jumping into. So you understand that I'm about to watch a video. The audio is probably gonna start playing. You know not to do it in a quiet place if you're in a meeting or something. But with LinkedIn, it's so surprising. I don't expect that. So I'll tap on that video tab, or I'll be scrolling and a video just automatically starts playing. It's super loud, and I'm like, it just like I'm not into the videos I'm watching on LinkedIn. I don't know why. I mean, I just feel like it's just not clicking for some reason. But I feel like I'm not alone in that, but it could just be me.
I think it's just really hard to do video around professional workplace stuff. Like you go
Yeah,
on TikTok or Instagram, like my Instagram feed is just like filled with dogs and camera stuff. And I just don't expect that on LinkedIn. I don't think there's going to be a ton of like dog videos on LinkedIn. Actually, somebody should do that. I feel like that would actually do really well if you did like, you made like a profile for your pooch and it's just like, then their work history and everything. And then they just start outputting videos. I think that'd
you
do
should do
well.
that. Well, you have a cute little dog. What's your dog's name? The little white one? Or you have more than one dog?
I have two dogs. I have Thor and Roscoe.
Thor and Roscoe. Which one's the little white one?
Thor.
Thor.
Yeah.
That's a fitting name for a cute little
The white one.
harmless animal.
Should have named it Trevor.
Oh, please don't.
The white dog.
I don't like the idea of you having a pet that you're carrying around in your house called Trevor.
Oh man,
Yeah.
I want to do a quick update on the donations. Bill,
Sure.
you son of a bitch. Bill Kurland just donated $500. His threat was empty. He said he'll match all the donations, and like $50 came in. He did 10 times that. So Bill, that you can't do that, Bill. Now every time you threaten people, we won't believe you. We won't believe
500?
you anymore. Yeah, he just only $500. Bill, you're now the top donor for this entire live stream. So
Yeah, I was gonna
holy
say, I think
crap.
the next one up, if I remember, was half that or something.
Yes, probably less than half, like around 200 something.
Which
And
is still a lot. Like
yeah,
that's
it's a lot. So
500. Wow, Bill, that's pretty cool.
Bill, thank you
And
so much. That's a lot of chicken McNuggets.
maybe that's his plan. He's gonna take a break from chicken nuggets for a few months, and he's just paying it forward.
Oh, now I have to go to McDonald's. Now I have to like take back all the negative things I said and go eat at McDonald's and take photos and videos of me doing so. Bill, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you. This is awesome. Thank you.
Yeah,
Now
and
I
to
owe
your
you
point,
forever.
yeah, we all do. And to your point, the money raised, like it's a lot, but when you think of homes or even like homes in LA, like it's sadly it really doesn't seem like that much. I mean, it's great that everyone's helping, but it's just so sad that it's like as great and big of an effort as this is, it's like hopefully it does make a big difference, but like with the price of homes and the price of even just one vehicle being lost or something, like this is hopefully helpful, but it's just sad how much loss has occurred. So
Yeah. The average per square foot cost of a home in the United States is $224. It's insane.
per square foot,
Yeah, that's the average. So that's not even talking about LA. That's just like
that's the United States.
yeah. So it's insane, but I'm gonna look at it in terms of chicken nuggets. So I think that makes me happier to know that $500 can buy me like probably 1,000 chicken McNuggets when they go on sale versus 2 square foot. Like, what would
um
you rather have? 2 square foot of a house or 1,000 chicken McNuggets right now?
Well, I just looked it up on the Chat GPT. It says that could buy about 66,760 chicken nuggets from McDonald's.
No, how much are chicken McNuggets now?
Around a 20 piece is $6. So that's about
Wow, that's a pretty good deal.
yeah, that's not a bad deal. So yeah, you'll definitely be a different person after eating 66,000 chicken McNuggets, but if it's
I'll
for a
be
good cause,
Trevor.
that you'll just reach your lowest state and look like me.
I'll have much better hair. I'll give you that.
That's you know, it's my one redeeming quality amongst it barely makes up for anything, but that's the one thing I have going for me.
Imagine if I had your hair.
I would it'd be game over. I'd lose this battle every time.
Oh man,
You
how's
you make up
Cleo?
for it. You make up for it with intelligence, though, so
Sure,
that
sure.
means something.
Flatter your way. But how's Cleo doing?
Cleo's good. I think just like any digital product, things just there's always technical challenges that make it take longer than expected. So we're just right in the middle of creating and shipping some features for our beta users, and it is taking a bit. It's just so much work. Our software engineer is so good, but just when you tackle a really complex problem, it means it's really valuable and people are very excited about it, but it means it's very hard to build it. So we've been tackling some pretty complex things and just trying to navigate all of that. And we're so close on some big features. So yeah, for anyone that's not aware, we did an initial pre-launch thing where we back at the end of November we capitalized on the Black Friday Cyber Monday week, and we had a capacity of 700 seats that we're going to give away we did some tiered pricing. So the first 100 seats were extremely discounted, and then we did 4 different tiers. We completed selling through the first 3 and almost the 4th one. So we ended up filling about 500 of the 700 seats, but then we closed off sales and are not even selling it right now. So we basically have 500 beta users that are in our community, and they're helping us test and put everything through the ringer of all these new features we're building. So yeah, it's been pretty exciting, but obviously very challenging.
I'm just gonna leave this comment up for the entire talk. Bill's the
Oh yeah.
best. Thank you, Rosie. That is indeed true. Uh, I just kind of jump right into Cleo. Like, how's Cleo? Like, Cleo's a person or a dog or something, but it's actually your startup that you've been working on for quite a while now. So, you should actually tell us like a bit about what it does. Like, I kind of know what it does, but just for the viewers.
Yeah, so originally Clio has been a Chrome extension that's free and allows people to basically do the things that LinkedIn doesn't allow you to do. It's almost like there's certain features people are always asking for on LinkedIn, and Clio, in a way, kind of fills those gaps. So you use it in addition to LinkedIn, but primarily it revolves around, analyzing and creating content for LinkedIn. We do have plans of branching into other platforms, and hopefully sooner rather than later. And I think that'll just make it even more awesome to have like this hub where you can analyze the content performance of all of your socials in one place, and actually create content and store all of your ideas and templates in one place, and then create and publish that from one place. So it's there's tools that do bits of this all around it, but we're trying to just improve the overall user experience and make it so that people can consolidate a little bit. It seems like a lot of tools nowadays are just basically consolidating other tools into one tool. That's part of what makes Clio special, but yeah, it's pretty cool though. One of the features we're trying to get launched to our beta group right now is the engage feature, allowing people to create lists of their favorite creators and only see those creators in a feed, and then comment on those on their posts in the last 1, 3, 6, 12 hours. So you can kind of get rid of all the noise, just see the creators you want to see and their recent posts that were posted within the last 12 hours, for example, and just kind of gamify it, like add a comment to theirs. And then it's like a little progress bar that shows you that you have 12 posts in the last 6 hours from the creators that you've selected, and you can just quickly go through and add comments to those, and just simplifies the process a little bit, because it's redundant. It can be challenging to do that in LinkedIn when there's so much noise and a lot of these features just don't exist on the platform. So and then you can imagine if you had Twitter and Instagram, you wanted to do like content creators, half of the battle is engagement, like leaving comments on other people's posts. And it can be really cumbersome to have to open up all these different platforms and find the people you want to talk to, leave comments. So just consolidating and simplifying that whole workflow into one interface is proving to be pretty special. So that's just one feature that we're super excited about.
Did you do the Tom from MySpace hack where you add yourself as the first creator for them to follow, like how Tom used to be the first friend for every single MySpace account?
We didn't, but that's not a bad idea.
Yeah, I should totally do that. It'd be like Trevor Nielsen. By default, you must follow Trevor and like and comment all his posts just to use this tool.
I mean, my face is on the website. I think it like I think I put it on the website. So I'll try to do things like that here and there, like like when someone like when artists create like a sculpture, their name's on there somewhere. Where there's like little hidden
Trevor.
gems. Yeah.
Also, Heath asks, will Clio allow me to search for your first comment on a hang shoe post? Because I tried scrolling down, gave up after a year of posts. So it's spelled Clio, like Kleo.
Yeah, KLEO. So the question is, will it allow me to search for my first comment on a hang shoe post? Oh, so like my first comment on a hang shoe post,
Maybe it's my comment on your post that
or
was first.
your comment on
Yeah. When did we first engage with each other?
that that is a cool idea. I think that the data exists. I don't think that we have that slated in at the moment as a feature to see engagements between two specific people. But that is a cool idea. I've wondered about that as well. Like, how often have I talked to this person? I'll make a note of that though. I think that's a cool feature. I bet there's a way. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a way to make that happen.
So one of my biggest fears when it comes to how do we solve who threw the first rock?
Yeah, I mean that's the question of the day
Yeah.
right there.
Who started this all? We should like open a betting pool for this and just see where it lands. But
I mean, I would I would bet money that I would win that bet. I would bet that I would win the bet that it was you that started it.
probably. I probably instigated something. You probably did something to deserve it though.
Yeah, that's what I want to know. It's like why
What
did
did you
you
do? You probably said something.
what did I do wrong? Or
Yeah.
what did I do right? Is it a blessing or a
Do
curse?
right.
I'm still, according to you, it's a blessing. You take a lot of credit for any good things that happen in my career. So
I would say
um,
most good things that's happened to you, like you getting married, you and your wonderful family, it's all because of me.
in some weird twisted way, you're probably right. I don't know
Yeah.
how.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll do an update on the fundraising as well.
Yep.
Bill, thank you so much for your enormously generous donation of $500. This is going to go such a long way. We're now at 83%, and we're at our 200th donation, and we're less than, yeah, we're like we're like 4,300 something dollars away from our goal. That's awesome. As soon as we reach the goal, I'll be able to stop live streaming, and I'll get so much back in my life, so much time and energy. I would be able to move on. So, folks, please help me stop this torture and just donate so I can hit the goal, and I'll never have to talk to people again. I can just go like hibernate somewhere in the corner for like a few months, which is what I deeply want right now. So, folks, thank you for donating. Please, if you haven't donated yet, hit the QR code or the link in the comments. Suggest the amount $25, more, less, everything's fine. We just want your money. Give us all your money so we can rebuild homes in Altadena. That'd be wonderful. Thank you so much, folks. Okay, so Trevor, one of my biggest fears is losing my LinkedIn account from using
Mhm.
browser plugins. And I've had that happen before. Like I didn't lose it, but they banned me several times whenever I used a plugin. That wasn't even LinkedIn related, really. It was just like something tangential, like probably like spell check or something like that. And once I removed the browser plugin, I was able to use my LinkedIn account without any issues. So, how do you make sure that doesn't happen with Clio? Because that's like a big concern for a lot of content creators.
Yeah, and what's funny is that used to be an issue for me as well. In fact, I counted it up, and I was locked out of my account 7 times at one point
Yeah.
prior to Clio. Not since Clio, it hasn't happened a single time. So I'll get that out of the way. And I haven't heard of it happening. There is one case where someone was locked out of their account and they weren't sure if it was related to Clio, but um, the problem with LinkedIn is, and again, this is unlike other social platforms like like with YouTube, imagine you're browsing YouTube and you see a bunch of videos you want to watch, and so you open all these up in different tabs because you're like, I want to watch these videos. On other platforms, that's totally fine, but on LinkedIn, if you open up too many profiles and tabs, LinkedIn thinks you're doing something bot related, like they mistake you as a bot. So with Clio, you find a bunch of new profiles, and so that person that I talked to, they had been opening them all up in a bunch of tabs, and we're like, well, it's hard to say that it was Clio's fault or just your behavior that was inspired maybe because
Right.
you were using Clio and you're finding all these new creators, and so you're just opening up all these tabs. So anyway, since I've been using Clio, and again, I had been shut out of my account by LinkedIn 7 times, but since using Clio, it has not happened once. And I think it's because it's more related to your behavior and less related to the tool you're using. Because with Clio, we try to do everything by the book as much as possible. Like we are trying to follow their guidelines, and we don't want people to get shut out of their account. And so, yeah, so far that hasn't been an issue for I would say almost everyone using the tool. But it's not that it's not to say it's not possible, because you could be using it in a way that LinkedIn sees as problematic or tries to automatically detect that you're doing something weird. So since I've stopped I'm like very hesitant to open up things in a new tab now on LinkedIn ever since that happened. Um, like some people will bookmark a bunch of creators, and then they'll open up those all at once in different tabs so they can go through and comment on all those different people's posts. And I try to avoid that. That's just one thing that I think has helped me to avoid it. But yeah, I don't know exactly why I stopped getting shut out of my account. Like, when's the last time that happened to you?
Right before I purchased the LinkedIn Premium account.
Oh,
So once I bought the higher tier premium account, they were just like, yeah, you can look as many profiles as you would like. No
yeah, that's
problem.
another
Just
one.
pay us money.
That's another one, is even if you don't open them in different tabs, if you just click through, and that was another problem I had when I'd get new followers. I was like, oh, I want to learn about these people that are clicking follow on my account, like so that they're not just these random numbers that are meaningless. So I would click on every person's profile and try to learn about them, which is what you probably should do on a networking app. So it was always so frustrating that LinkedIn would identify that as bot behavior. I'm like, how is that bot behavior? I'm doing like what the app is built to do. Like,
Yeah,
it's a networking app. You should learn about people. So why penalize someone for clicking on more profiles? I must have been clicking on a lot. I don't know, but yeah,
yeah.
I also upgraded to premium, and that has also probably contributed to me not getting shut out as often anymore either.
That helped a lot. By paying them money, they're just like, we're gonna give you more limit or more rate or higher rate limit as a result. Uh, so I also want to kind of ask about how you got to where you are right now, because you've had a pretty interesting last few years to say the least. You went through a layoff at a company called Giddy, and you were trying to figure out what you wanted to do, like either keep looking for another in-house design job or become a freelancer. And now you're kind of part of a startup and also doing consulting on the side. Like, what's the balance like? How did you get here? And what's working, what's not?
Yeah, it really is a balance. I feel like Clio's not paying the bills yet. Like, we've made a little bit of money because of our launch around Black Friday. But we're not regularly selling it, so it's not something that is paying the bills at all yet. So yeah, I definitely am relying heavily on freelance work right now, and I essentially have learned over the past year that I've tried a number. I've had up to, I think, 5 clients at once, and now I found that 2 to 3 is ideal. Like 5, even if the money is the same. Like, if you think of the way I was pricing it, was I would have a lower monthly retainer rate, and I would try to get more clients, because I had just come off of the layoff at the end of 2023, and I was basically trying to diversify my income. And I was like, if I can get more clients, then the odds of them all dropping me is lower. Like,
Yeah.
so I felt safer. But what I've learned is that it's really hard to context switch through that many projects. Like, even within each client, you might have 2 to 3 projects that you're working on. So it was just too much. And so I ended up charging more and trying to work with just 2 to 3 at once. In fact, right now I only have 2 plus Clio. So it's just like 3 different overall. Like Clio feels almost like a client. It's just it doesn't take up full time at the moment. There's definitely been weeks and months where it is full time, but it kind of goes in waves depending on the phase of where we're at. But yeah, I feel like I have sort of tried to find the balance of how much work I can handle at once and just trying to find the right clients that can pay more, and then I can give them more of my time each week. But it's still a work in progress. I'm still trying to figure out, what happens next. Like in a way, I still feel like it's all an experiment. Like I feel like when you land a full-time job, it's almost like this sense of relief. Like you can take a breath of fresh air, and you're just like I'm good for the next 2 to 3 years or whatever. Like
Ah,
you feel secure. I mean, whenever I had a night, obviously my last job only lasted 18 months um, before it didn't. But I think with what I'm doing now, I feel like I haven't fully been able to relax because everything is month to month retainers. And I mean, I've had some where it's like they'll agree to we're going to do 3 to 6 months, and so there's a little bit more of security, of just knowing that there is a bit more runway. But I'm always feeling like, this could all go away at any moment. So I still highly value content creation, always making sure that my name is out there. I do need to, I always say this, but I need to do better at sharing my work. It's just been so tricky since doing client work. I never know exactly what I can or can't share. I kind of want to wait till the products ship and then I can share it. I don't want to share it too early and get in trouble. So sharing work has been a challenge, but I want to do more of that. I feel like that's by far the best way to get clients to reach out to you, is they see your work and they're like, oh, he's a good designer. I'll reach out to him and see if he can help me with my project.
what? Sorry, go on.
No, that's it. I want to hear what you have to say.
What's the ultimate goal for this?
I think my ultimate goal, I would love to be full time doing like building different digital products. I feel like that would be just so fun. I do love client work and I want to do it as long as possible. As long as I work with great clients, it's pretty enjoyable.
Yeah.
But there's something about being an owner in a product that's so exciting. Like it's just unlike anything else. Like to me, there's a full-time job is so exciting, and you're so lucky to get a full-time job at a cool company. But then to do client work to me feels a bit more exciting because of all the freedom and ownership you have over your schedule. Like when you're at a full-time job, I always felt like even with really great teams, great managers, it just always there's this feeling of they have some sense of ownership over you. And so like going to the gym in the middle of the day, if I stayed too long, I'd always feel guilty. Like, I got to get back to work. I'm stealing company from the money. I'm stealing.
Company.
Yeah, like I'm taking too long. Like I got to get back to my desk. What if somebody's messaging me? But since going into client work, like I never feel that. Like I could leave work in the middle of the afternoon for hours, or I could just stop working one day, and there's zero guilt. The only problem then is you build up more work for the next day if you don't get your work done. But
Yeah.
that's what it should be. I feel like it should just be the focus on the work. Get rid of all the politics and the butts and seats mentality. But at a full-time job, it's just so hard to get away from that. Like I said, even at the coolest companies with the coolest people, there's just this ever-present feeling of like I have to be on during the 9 to 5, or else I'm doing something unethical.
What about?
So yeah.
Sorry, I keep interrupting you.
No. I give you these pauses, and then you're like, this is my chance to squeeze in while he's rambling, and then I keep teasing it.
How do you see the difference between the work you do for Clio versus the work that you do for clients? Besides the pay, like, do you prefer doing the Clio stuff more because you have even more ownership over the product itself?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Like I feel like with client work, I've been so lucky to work with great clients. In fact, one of my workers right now is an enterprise company, so I am definitely like a small cog in the wheel. And then the other one is a startup, so I'm like one of two designers helping build their entire app. And so with that one, I definitely feel more ownership. But even then, like the founder and there's VC funding in that startup, so it's like I'm not calling the shots at all. Like I'm definitely just trying to help execute on their vision. But with Clio, like my voice is definitely up there, especially with the platform or like a product that is built for people like me, people that do create content on LinkedIn. And that's primarily what Clio is right now. So it totally makes sense why Jake reached out to me as the designer to help him, because he saw that I was a good fit for what he envisioned. And so I've just felt like I'm building a product for myself, which is so fun. Like these other like client work is usually you might be lucky and land a client that's building a product that's exactly for you. And I'm definitely a user of the products that I've helped design for clients. But with Clio, it's like I was lucky enough to partner with a product that is like exactly for one of my favorite things, which is writing and creating content. So yeah, so it's really exciting, and it just makes me want to do it even more. Like, man, there's probably 5 other tools I could be working on in the future that are tools that I wish existed that don't. And there's just nothing like that. Like when you are building something that solves an exact problem that you face every day yourself, and you get to build that solution, and you have the potential upside of the scalability of owning a digital product that can sell while you're sleeping. Like to me, that's one of the biggest excitements. Like with client work, you're forever stuck in if I take time off, stop making money. If I can't take a 3-month break and keep earning money,
Right.
I'm just always stuck like trading hours for dollars. And so I love the potential of being able to escape that to some degree, and to
Hmm.
be able to have like a consistent like just being able to earn some money without having to always be on, you know. And so
So,
there's trade-offs though. Like with Clio, there's definitely a ton of free work before you even get to that point. Like I said, we've been working on it for a while and have just barely scratched the surface of actually making money. So definitely trade-offs.
so do you know that Jake actually reached out to me first before he reached out to you? And I told him that I just
Yeah.
wasn't available, but there's this other designer, this poor designer who was just laid off and wasn't very good, but needed a chance and opportunity. And that's how he connected with you. And that's mostly why you're here where you are today, because of me.
I can't believe I didn't see that coming.
No, but
Oh my.
I do want to ask. So, look, it's not an accident that Jake reached out to you, right? Like it wasn't. He didn't like spin a wheel and he ended up on a content creator who happened to be a designer. And I feel like there are a lot of other designers out there who are looking for this similar opportunity, especially designers who are starting out who need to have real world projects in their resume or in their portfolio. Like they want to be building stuff, right? They don't want to just be doing some kind of independent redesign that's like not really realistic. And usually hiring managers don't pay a whole ton of attention to that. So what do you think you did that enabled you to find this opportunity for somebody to reach out to you to offer it? Because I feel that a lot of other designers are really hungry for a similar opportunity or situation, but don't really know how to get there.
Yeah, great question. I feel like it's all tied back to what you put out there. And I had written a lot of content about startups. I had been working with startups for the past couple years prior to getting laid off. Jake and I actually connected while I was still employed. And so we met um, almost a year before he even reached out to me. So it wasn't like he was totally reaching out to a stranger. So I think that's something people don't totally get, is that on social media, when you're creating content and trying to put it out there, trying to find opportunities, it's not just a numbers game. The quality of the numbers is just as important as having big numbers. Like if you have 100,000 followers and you've never had like a one-on-one chat with some of those people, um, those numbers they probably just see you as like a form of entertainment, but they don't really know that you're business partner worthy. Like there's a totally different
Right.
level to the trust that somebody has in just some random person they follow on social media versus somebody that they would want to actually work with. So I think people should make it a regular habit, which is what I did, of talking to people one on one. And it's hard because, and this is always the excuse, and I've made this excuse myself, but people are so busy. Like, I don't have time for this. It's like, okay, if you don't have time for it, you don't have time for it, but that's what it takes. Like, you have to meet people one on one. Commenting on their post helps. Like, you can kind of get to know people a little bit by leaving comments, but yeah, like the lurking, like so many people open up LinkedIn, even people I know that hate LinkedIn, they still open it up because there's value there. So they open it up, they scroll, they occasionally will click like on a few posts. They might even hate the app, but they're just like, oh, LinkedIn is so annoying. I hate the all the people I see on there, the stuff I read, but then they still open it. Like it's an app people are going to open every day, but you really get the most benefit out of it when you comment on posts so that people can start to get to know you. You message them privately so they can start to get to know you even better. And then you even hop on calls with them. Like you really can make friends with people by having calls with them, trying to help them. Like one of the first conversations I had with Jake was he was trying to get help with a project and I didn't have time for it. So I was referring him to another designer. So I was trying to help him solve his problem by referring him to a designer that could help him with his design need at that time. So in a roundabout way, that probably resulted in him remembering, like, okay, Trevor posts about content that's relevant to like he finds it interesting. He sees that I am like a real person. We've talked before. He's willing to help me. So all those things, those little things add up to him saying, hey, I have um, a potential partnership opportunity for you. So it's the little things that add up, but the meaningful one-on-one interactions, I think, are the most important.
So he reached out to you first and asked about design work, and you referred him to somebody else.
Yeah, on a totally different project. This was like a year before. I don't even think Clio had existed at that point, but yeah. So he reached out to me, and one thing he actually said, and this was also way before Clio, he had messaged me and said that when he thinks of design, my name comes to mind. And I
That's
felt like
crazy.
that was a really cool compliment because at the time he was becoming very popular on LinkedIn, and I was like, wow, like coming from you, this is a huge compliment. Like when he thinks about design, my name comes to mind because he reads my posts, and I was posting almost every day. I was posting like 6 days a week at that time when he reached out. So I was really just like putting my name out there, putting my ideas, my opinions, my work. I was really trying to flood LinkedIn with my name, like and so it just is cool to see how all that effort paid off in a roundabout way. And that's just one example. Like there's other ways it's paid off in ways, seeds that are planted that are yet to be harvested. And I feel like that's what people, that's what people hope for. So it is pretty cool to see it work out.
That's so crazy. So I thought he found out about you through the Workday posts, all the mock-ups, and was like, this poor guy, I have to help him out and not let him be the butt of all jokes for weeks and weeks. But uh, serious question though, I feel like there's one thing that you do really well that other design content creators don't do, especially me, is that not only are you creating compelling content, but you're also emitting the signal that you are a good designer that people should work with. And I think that's like a really difficult thing to do well because you cannot just say, I'm a great designer, work with me, I'm available. That doesn't work. And it's through this kind of roundabout way that some people do it really well that enables them to get new business. Because this is not the first time that you've told me or you've, talked about how people have reached out to you for, opportunities because they want to give you work. Like that time when you wrote a post about Robinhood and their new
Yeah.
like loading screen. I was like, yeah, you had absolutely nothing to do with that. Like,
Yeah.
you never worked with them, and you don't even do animation like that. So how did that lead to more business opportunities? Like, teach us your ways.
Well, first of all, I thought we were battling. I didn't know you were going to give me a compliment on this call. This is very
Oh no, I'm not done
great.
yet. I'm not
Okay,
done
okay.
yet. This is the first part of the trap.
There's always something else behind. There's always something else coming, and
Yeah, this
anyway,
is this is the monkey's paw.
you've got me putting my hand in there,
You know the monkey's
grabbing.
paw?
Yeah, where you grab you try if they refuse to let go of the nut, and so they can't get their hand out of the box.
No, no, no. The monkey's paw is
What's the
it's
monkey's
like
paw?
it's a short story by, I want to say Kipling. Crap, I can't remember who wrote it, but it's basically how it would give you, I think, like 3 or 5 wishes,
Wow,
and
I was referencing the totally wrong thing.
it's a great story. So you will get your wish, but there's a horrible cost to it.
Oh, okay.
So
I thought you were referring to the analogy to like the. Have you heard the thing where if there's like a box with, and monkeys will reach their hand in to try to grab the nut or something, and once they grab it, their hand is too big, so they can't pull their hand out of the box.
I don't know
Like
what kind
their
of weird
hand.
fantasies you have, Trevor. We don't think
Oh,
about.
I, I need to leave this call. Why are we? Can't believe I said it yet. Can't believe I said yes to this. Um. Anyway, you can look that up later. It's
No, no, thank you, Trevor. I don't want the same kind of browser history you have. Monkeys reaching for nuts.
it's not like that. Okay.
Sure.
Okay.
I get a maturity level of like a 5-year-old. Anyway, how do
Oh, I
we
know.
how
I
do we
know. That's why I
drive
can't believe I said yes to this.
how do we drive more business in effective ways that go beyond the I am available for business, please work with me, that a lot of people are doing on LinkedIn.
Yeah, that's the golden question. I feel like it's I actually am still trying to figure out, what really makes that happen. Like it's I will say it's not like a foolproof recipe where if I'm like if I do this one thing, I know that I will have this result. There's definitely been dry spells where I have like nobody reaching out, and then there's other times when it's like when it rains it pours and all of a sudden I have a couple of different clients reaching out at the same time, and I'm like, oh, I have to say no, I can't say yes to these people, which is hard because the
Right.
dry spells might be coming, and it feels tempting to say yes to everyone, but I'm like, I can't do that to myself. So I still am trying to figure out, like, I wish it was this turnkey thing where I could just immediately make it happen. I will say if there is one thing that is turnkey, it is doing really good design work. And I sadly to say this, like a lot of it is good visual design work if we're getting specific. Um, because clients may not know what exactly they're looking for, but everyone can recognize good looking design work. So that is on social media, that is something that works. Sharing pretty design work, whether it's UI work, animation like that one, even though it wasn't even my animation, people are drawn to good visual design work. So sharing that stuff on social media at least starts the conversation. It doesn't land you a client or land you a job, but it's it's a conversation starter because people can immediately recognize that even if they're not a designer. Um, so that's one thing. But I think over time, if people can tell that you're a kind person and you're not going to be a challenge to work with, I think that helps. And so it's, I think the soft skills go a long way. And by showcasing your personality online, it helps. It helps people see who you are and if you're going to be a nice person to work with. Because there's nothing worse than a client, they're afraid of hiring a diva, or somebody that's going to make life really hard for them and their team, or somebody that's not trustworthy, that's not going to deliver on their promises. So trying to showcase kindness, trustworthiness, in whatever little detail you can over time, like in one single post, it may not come across, but if you can showcase, that you're a decent person over time, that builds trust. And so then people are more likely to reach out. I don't know. It's hard. I haven't created any exact formula for this sort of thing to what makes someone actually reach out and trust you for their project. But I think it just comes down to them getting to know you, your skill set, being able to trust that you can deliver with what they have to hire you for.
I feel like, given the current job market and just like how abusive certain workplaces are, how some founders and CEOs are, when they see that you're the butt of all these workday meme jokes and that you do absolutely no retaliation, you just kind of take it, just lay there in a prone position, you just take it, and they're just like, this is the kind of worker we want. Like we want somebody we can like just really take advantage of and abuse, and just have like no, they don't retaliate in any way. Like we want to squeeze every drop of profit and value out of this person. And when they think of this ideal worker, they can see your face. So I think that's
That is the most
where
that is the most twisted way of taking credit. I don't even know how your thought process connected the dots, getting to that outcome of taking credit for clients reaching out to me.
like I said, everything that's ever happened to you that was good probably came
Mhm.
from one of these workday mock-ups.
Yeah, it has to.
Like instead
Um,
of me paying you for using your likeness and your image and your name, you should be paying me.
for your contributions,
Yes,
if
exactly.
you can call it that.
Yes. We're almost at time, but do you have a few more minutes? Because I actually do want
I
to
do.
dig a little bit deeper into how you're doing how you're doing this, because it's, to me, it's really interesting in that you're telling us you're not showing your work that often, and it's true. I follow your content. You don't actually show a ton of your design work, and somehow people really want to work with you. And I think there's something in there, like yeah, you definitely come across as likable, easy to work with, and somebody people can communicate easily with, which is a big thing for a lot of founders and a lot of design managers, right? Because they don't want to get into nitty gritty of like describing what good design is. They just want to tell somebody, do this, and they figure everything out on their own. But beyond that, I feel like you do a really good job of getting your name out there. So I think generally speaking, people who follow design on LinkedIn would be aware of you, your content, your name. But there's something else beyond that that enables you to build your business in a very organic way without ever having to spend a single penny on advertising.
You know, that sounds like a compliment to me. I know it's probably not. I'm in about 5 minutes. I'll probably find out that was in some twisted way it was not a compliment. But for now, thank you. It sounds like a compliment in the moment. But no, I think yeah, you make a good point, and there is something about it. There's some
Yeah, it's a hair.
it, the hair. Well, I was gonna say I see designers on Twitter that do a lot of great work, and one of the tricky things is the type of work I do is a bit unique. Like I honestly, the other day I was trying to make a list of designers that do exactly what I do, and most of the designers I know that are freelancers are doing branding work or they're doing website design. I mean, I've done a couple websites, not much, but mostly I do product design. And it's kind of rare to find designers that are doing freelancer work, contract product design, and share on social media. So it could be that there's just not a lot of, I guess, competition, because most of the designers that are doing product design are full time and they don't care about posting online. So I actually do think I'm seeing Heath's comment right now. Um, I I try not to reveal that too much, but Nielsen Norman, he is my father. No, I'm kidding.
Well, you're a bastard. Not like in the insulting way, but
Oh,
like
I
in
know.
the literal
In the
way.
literal,
That is
like
supposed to be an
the
insult.
medieval way. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
taking it out of context, that's going to be the best part of this clip. That 1 second part.
That's how I get banned from LinkedIn again. Oh wait, the other time I got.
That's amazing. That is going to be the best 1 second clip that I can just save and just use it to motivate myself. Like the way like Michael Jordan used to he just used to like in his mind replay the insults from people or like people saying he couldn't do something, and that just made him better.
Yeah.
I'm just going to save that clip from you and just replay it and just do better every day. Be motivated.
Sorry, you were saying.
I don't even remember what I was saying.
Uh, maybe you cornered the market. You might be right, because I actually cannot think of any other content creators who are product designer contractors as well, or consultants.
Yeah, like I know some other content or contract digital product designers, but they're not. It's rare that they are content creators. So like on my profile, when I see like other profiles similar to me, there's a couple people that pop up like Christina Volchek. Here, let me go to my profile and just see what it says right now. Yeah, she's always like the first one. It says your viewers also viewed Christina Volchek. She's also a senior product designer, but even her services are not like, she does freelance work, but she's not necessarily doing product design right now. Like her main service, I think right now is for newsletter, people that are trying to start a newsletter. So she's really good with Beehive, and she'll design the whole branding around their Beehive newsletter. But anyway, so that's like one. It's just, and then a lot of the other ones are agency owners, like people that are self-employed, but they're doing product design. They're agency owners. And so a lot of people I know don't want to work with agencies. They want to work with an individual that can basically attach to their team and fill in the gaps, or they just want to work with a person that maybe they're afraid the agencies are going to charge an arm and a leg.
They do.
So anyway, yeah, they do.
They do.
And I mean, I'm trying to charge an arm and a leg. I'm trying to get there. So, but anyway, yeah, I think there's something about what I do being, maybe it's kind of rare. So it could potentially be that there's not a lot of other people doing this on LinkedIn. So maybe it's easier for people to be like, okay, I need a freelancer, but I need someone that can design my app. Oh, Trevor, his name pops up because maybe there's not as many people that are doing what he does. So that could be one thing.
Can you share the process when people reach out to you? Like, how do you follow up? Do you play hard to get, or do you like say, here's my deck, let's book a call if you're interested, here are my rates?
If they're asking about helping design a product, I pretty much always take the call, even if I know I'm not going to say yes right away. So for example, that post that you referenced where I shared a video of me doing the animations on the Robinhood onboarding, I didn't even design that, but I shared that. That post got like 50,000 views. I mean, for 50,000 views, the fact that it only got one lead is like not amazing, but I wasn't expecting to get a lead out of it because it wasn't my design work. But this person booked a call with me, and he is a founder, is designing an app, or he built an app on his own, and he did all the design work, but he wants to refresh because he's a developer. He's like, I need better design. I need to actually work with a designer. So he said he saw the post. I saw your, I know it wasn't your design, but it made me feel like you have good taste. So I went to your profile, I went to your website, and I saw that you had good design work. So then I reached out. I was like, that's pretty cool.
Okay.
How that all worked out. But I took the call with him, and I didn't end up working with him because it was during November when we were really busy with the Clio launch. And then I had just started like a 3-month engagement with another client that was very busy. So I told him if he's available at the beginning of the coming year, I would potentially be open. I still probably should reach back out to him and see if he needs help. But so I didn't end up working with him, but I took the call because I'm like, you never know, like those connections, even if it doesn't work out right now, like maybe he would end up pausing himself and not find another designer. Maybe he just shelved it for a few months, and then when I reach out, he might be available. So I always feel like I take the call. I just I get to know what they need. I usually do have them fill out like he had filled out the questionnaire on my website. This basically finds out like what's their website, what's their budget, what type of design work do they need, Those are just some initial, try to keep it simple so they'll actually fill out the form. So that helps. But yeah, I don't think I have like the very best sales process, but it works. And it's usually just very one-to-one, personal, just casual, asking questions.
I forgot my train of thought. I was gonna write a comment. Please donate,
It was
folks.
probably
Yeah,
it was probably an insult, and it's probably better that you forgot.
that's true. I was gonna probably take credit. Oh, right. I was gonna take credit for reminding you to
Of
reach out
course.
to him because
Yes.
that's an opportunity for more business that I reminded you. And if it weren't for me, he probably would have gone with somebody else right now. So again, you're welcome. I should be getting like a cut of all your paychecks going forward, but I'm a nice guy. I'm gonna let this go. But anyway, folks, please donate. I put the link in the comments or use the QR code on the bottom right. Bill, thank you so much again for your extremely, extremely generous donation. That takes us to 200 donations, 83%, and $21,627 out of the $26,000 goal. So we're less than $4,500 away from the ultimate goal, then I can finally stop live streaming because at this point, this is just torture and nobody likes to. Well, Trevor probably likes it. That's why Trevor is just watching me do this. Okay, so fuck, we're way over time, but I really want to ask about
Ask it.
how I've seen a few other designers who are contractors similar to what you're doing out there. And as their business grows, they're just like, well, I'm going to start outsourcing it and relying on other folks in low cost of living areas to like do more of the work. And I can be more of a front man, the business person that's project managing and make sure that things are of high quality and delivering it, right? I'm like the face of it. I'm taking care of all the admin stuff, the taxes, etc. Have you thought of doing that? What are your like strategy or approach to this relative to your business?
So I've thought about it, and I've thought about getting a name that's not my name and making it like a little studio or something, but ultimately I just don't like the idea. I've talked to a couple of different people that have done it, and managing another designer, it from what I've heard, unless you find the very best people to work with that are not super expensive, it just ends up being as much work to manage another designer and their work as it is to just do the work yourself. Like maybe obviously it's less work, but in the end, depending on who you hire, um, I don't know. It's still a lot of work. So I don't know. I'm not to say I won't try it one day. There's a chance I might try it. Like if I ever one day did stop doing client work, it would be tough to keep turning away leads. I think what I'd rather do all though at that point would be like have partnerships with other studios or freelancers and almost get like a referral cut for referring work to them. I do actually have that with a couple of friends right now, but I don't get like a ton of leads, so I don't refer enough work away that has actually resulted in substantial income as like a referrer. But yeah, sorry, that's kind of it's not a very clear answer, but to your, I guess I have thought about it. It just still sounds like a ton of work. Like people do that, I think, to work less, but
Yeah,
I just don't see it that way. I still feel like managing another designer, getting them up to speed, and then if they leave, you have to deal with like replacing them, or else you have to manage the work yourself if you can't fill that role. Like there's just it's not a simple thing, is what I think a lot of people think like, oh, I can breathe, I can like relax now because I hired people. It's like, well, you actually create a lot of stress for yourself because then you are always worried about you're now paying the bills for someone else. So you feel extra stressed about lead generation. You have to keep the pipeline filled up for months in advance. It just feels a lot easier if it's all on me. And I just haven't had the desire to scale it. Plus, it kind of contradicts my goal of doing product owner, like owning products and making
right.
money that way. I feel like it'd be tough to do both of those things really well. Um, so that's kind of my thought process on scaling a like an agency.
I can't believe you have friends that you refer business to. are they just your friends for the free business referrals?
Well, one of them's Jeff White.
Oh,
You know Jeff.
yeah. Great guy.
Yeah,
Helped
he's a good
raise a
guy.
lot of money.
Yeah, he
So
raised over. He has the record, right? Raising $1,000 on his stream.
1100.
That's amazing.
I know. Dude is nuts. And people really like his courseworks. So
Yeah, his course is
yeah.
pretty good.
Yes. Pretty awesome.
So yeah, he's
You're
a
right.
trustworthy guy.
Yeah, you're right. It's like it's really hard to actually manage all this and kind of takes us away from being designers. We become more of like people or project managers, and that's not easy.
Yeah, I do see the benefit for a lot of reasons though. Like if somebody wanted to take a month off, you could still do that. You could like
Yeah.
if you have a trustworthy team, they could handle it for you while you're gone. So I don't know. I just don't have like I said, I only have two actual like month to month clients right now. So I'm like, I don't have enough work where I would want someone else or like I just don't know. I feel like it would be pretty stressful unless I had much bigger projects and a lot more work coming in. So anyway, yeah, it's definitely not out of the question, but it's not in the plans right now.
That makes sense. You should just clone yourself, and then you would be able to just get a lot of work done. You have
I feel
kids,
like
right? Like they're
uh-huh,
probably old enough to open up Figma.
pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think most designers that is the challenge is how do you find someone that can do what you do but doesn't charge as much as you charge.
Kids.
Kids,
Yeah.
right?
They say managerial leverage. I say parental leverage. What's the difference?
You know, if I take parental advice from you, I don't know what the outcome would be.
Are you would be in jail for child
Jeez.
labor law violations?
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Yes. All right. We're way over time. Trevor, I want to thank you so much
Oh,
for
that's fine.
coming on. Folks, if you haven't donated yet, please put in a donation. We would greatly appreciate it. Again, Bill, thank you so much for your extremely generous donation, $500. That's huge, humongous. That is the biggest donation that we've received by far over on this live stream. So thank you, Bill. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're awesome. And Rosie is completely right. Bill is the best. Trevor, say he's number two right now.
I don't even think I'm number two, but I appreciate it.
Yeah,
I'm
I'll give
somewhere
you
down
number
there.
two. Yeah, somewhere down there. All right, Trevor. I'm out of insults at this point, but thank you so much for sitting through this entire hour talking about your experience, what you've done. It's super cool and amazing. I hope that Clio really takes off because it's a really awesome tool, and you should definitely put yourself as like in the default of like design content creators to follow, similar to Tom from MySpace.
Just promote myself
Yeah,
through the product.
yeah,
I'll
absolutely.
take your advice. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, you're welcome. That's
Yeah.
another one of my many contributions to your quality of life.
Yeah, I would be nowhere without Hang.
It's true.
That's the moral of this live stream.
Yes. If you took away one thing from this live stream, it would be that. Thank you, everyone,
Thank you.
for watching. We'll be back tomorrow with more live streams. I don't know which ones yet, but we'll figure it out. And this marathon, this never-ending torture for me will continue. So, thanks, everyone. Thank you, Trevor, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Good luck. Yes, thank you.
Take care, everyone. Please donate. Goodbye. Gotta end the live stream. Second half.